Are religious people philosophical zombies? I think they are. I don't know what a philosophical zombie is. A philosophical zombie is somebody that doesn't actually think about anything besides day to day life. Think about anything deeper than like the next day or the next meal. You know what I'm saying? Nothing wrong with being like, not into philosophy. You don't gotta be a philosophical fiend like me. But I'm just saying like they don't think about anything that's requires deeper than surface level thought. Anyways, what I mean by that is people that are religious, specifically Christian, that's my background, before I deconstructed, is that they believe that their whole, not just their life and death are both already predetermined depending on how they live, which is, whatever. So they think that nothing else matters as long as they end up in heaven. That's like kind of a different way of being a philosophical zombie because they don't think about what it actually means to die. This is why I always disagree when people say religion is created for power and not comfort and coping. Because yes, it has been used for power. It still is used for power. That's kind of how the country's being run right now, on the power of Christianity, the hold it has on people's minds. Like back when it was first originated, and even before like modern society, it was used as a coping mechanism. That's why the concept of eternal life is so prevalent and so frequently used in the Bible. Because Christians are obviously humans, so it's like they are afraid of death. That's why as soon as they're like, we don't die, we die in the flesh, but we live forever in spirit and in heaven. But you don't actually think about the concept of what forever is. You're telling me you are going to die in the flesh, which is your finite worldly form, but then you're going to live forever spiritually in heaven, worshiping God. You know what I'm saying? I don't have a problem with you believing that, but I'm just like people that are religious don't actually think about, if they do think about it, that's when they start deconstructing stuff. People that don't deconstruct and don't start thinking why they believe what they believe will continue to be philosophical zombies because they only think that them dying on earth and then continuing to live eternally forever in heaven, just worshiping God, is a satisfactory way to go out. I mentioned the fear of dying because the first things mentioned in the Bible about the first sins and stuff, Adam and Eve, was the curse of not eternal life. Why, as a human? Because that's why I said people don't think about it. Because eternal life would suck. If you've thought about immortality anyway, you know that it would suck past like 500 or maybe 1,000 years because you would just not be able to really enjoy life. If all humans live forever, why would we need babies? You know what I'm saying? Why, not only why would we need babies, how do we even get babies? You know what I'm saying? Because when does the immortality start? Do you hit your prime and then just stop aging, or do you just become old and decrepit into, like a raisin, until you become like an amoeba or like a stick on the ground? And you're just living there, but you're just too old and dry to move. It's like when they say the punishment for whatever Adam and Eve did in the garden is no longer eternal life. Why is that a bad thing? Obviously, like we're doomed to die, but it's like, what do you mean doomed? If you're doomed to die as a Christian, you're not doomed. That's like a golden ticket, like in Willy Wonka factory, bro. You know what I'm saying? You're Once you're dead, you're on the way to heaven with what they believe, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, as a human, eternal life, eternity in general, is incomprehensible, let alone enjoyable.